to present that way to us than just to dress daily outfit on stage. To me, that's actually a more forced normal to me. Hello, welcome back to my channel. It has been, I want to say, a little over a week since the last time I did any recording because I had to go through a procedure, and I think if you've seen my community post, you know that was, in the hospital for some procedure, but it was in the past. I am recovering very well. Thank you very much for all the good wishes out there. Thank you so much for your kind thoughts. But today, I think that I'm gonna go back into recording. I'm gonna ease my way back into recording with a shorter video. So I went to Boracity Magazine because I really do love her videos. And then I saw a short little one, I think 13 minutes-ish. It's called Be Yourself or Be a Star. If you can be yourself, you will be a star. So that's what I think. I'm trying to be myself. Sometimes I still, kind of concerned about what people think of me, but most of the time, I'm gonna be myself. And in my mind, I am a star. I'm a star of a very small YouTube channel with, not a lot of subscription, but it's okay. Anyway, we are going to check this out.
Earlier.
Hold on just a second. I want to make sure that it's recording correctly. And okay, so now the start is over again. Be yourself will be a star. BTS grew from the 90s and the 2010s. So whatever, let's go.
Although I wasn't necessarily a fan, I've always been curious about the idea of musical groups with multiple members with different voices. Before, we used to call them boy bands and girl bands.
Yes.
Now bands are more associated with music.
What about Jackson 5? Will they consider a boy band because they were a family band, right? The Jacksons. So they were all from the Jacksons family and they range in ages. So would they consider a boy band? I don't know. Let me know in the comments.
Musical ensembles, and the terms boy group and girl group are more common. But whatever you want to call them, I was interested in these types of groups. I was especially interested in the puzzle I created in my mind for these groups. Are these members part of what appears to be a complex puzzle, a simple puzzle, a disproportionate one?
She thinks too much, but thanks to her, she thinks so much, she's able to bring in this interesting content for us to digest and make us think as well.
What appears to be a complex puzzle, a simple puzzle, a disproportionate one? Is there a piece that maybe doesn't fit? Or are they just pretending they are part of the same puzzle? Recently, I saw a clip of the mentor that helped the British girl group Little Mix win their singing competition.
I let them be themselves, and I'd always say to them, don't do the whole, dressing up and the matchy, like just do you. What do you want to wear? Talk about the things that you're passionate about. Just be you, be authentic.
That's an interesting concept because I think I still I don't know anything about K-pop. I'm just saying things that's passing my mind and none of them might be true, okay? But for K-pop, you do see that they don't really wear matching outfit, but it's all cohesively supposedly has a concept, right? And I want to say that for the BTS members, they do have some say in how they want to dress. They do have stylists to dress them, but I think most of the time they have a say in how they want to dress, right? Is it true? Let me know.
And what she said reminded me of a big idea a lot of Western girl groups and boy groups tried to go by during the 2010s, which was, we should not be manufactured. We should just be ourselves, normal boys and girls.
I was never really a fan of boy bands before.
When people say you're in a boy band,
I am never a fan of boy band either.
Cool boy band.
Would you consider yourself a boy band?
No.
I don't think our music...
I think you are. I remember seeing this group before in other Boracity Magazine videos, and they pissed me off, especially the white, the middle one and the other one. They were dissing BTS. They pissed me. I don't know who they are. That tells you how famous they are, or that tells you how important they are in my world. Not like BTS. I don't know if you can see all this merches there, and I have more in the boxes there. I have not got a chance to open them, but anyway. They are not important. BTS is, at least for me. So I don't know who they are, but every time I see their faces, I get triggered. So let's move on.
Fits the description of a boy band? Like this music.
Okay,
Would you
what,
consider yourself a
whatever
boy
you were
band?
saying, okay.
No.
I don't think our music
I will at least show some respect to hear what they were saying because Boracity Magazine put in the video, so I need to show my respect to her by really paying attention to the clip that she put in there, even though I don't really care what they're saying, but whatever, let's continue.
Yeah, I am, but I'm in a cool boy band.
Would you consider yourself a boy band?
No.
I don't think our music fits the description of a boy band.
What
Like this
kind of
music
music do you
specifically, I
have?
don't think it fits the description of a boy band.
Our music's not as like stereotypical as like,
are
your
you?
typical boy band.
We couldn't follow the boy band stereotypes. Choreographed dance routines and everything's the same.
They hate dancing with a passion.
There's been times when they've dressed us all in the same clothes and we're like, no, we can't do that.
But who
Don't do
are
the whole,
you?
dressing up and the matchy, like, just do you. Just be you.
You're still a normal person.
Yeah, I still feel pretty normal.
Yeah, I'm 100%
You are
still
normal.
normal too.
We are really nice with each other. Yeah, we're just laid back girls.
Really? Who are this?
And what I'm
Oh,
about
they
to
all sound
say
the same.
And what I'm about to say may sound controversial at first, but please hear me out and try to understand my entire point.
Okay.
I think groups should not just be themselves. Authenticity and being relatable.
Yeah, they need to have a cohesive concept, right? If you want to be yourself, then go solo. Okay, well, whatever. Okay.
I think groups should not just be themselves. Authenticity and being relatable are good things for a group. But I do believe that this wave of authenticity in groups during the 2010s was some kind of coping mechanism for boy groups and girl groups to not get the reputation of the outdated groups of the 90s. I remember that there was this repulsive reaction by young singers and teenage audiences to matching outfits, choreographed dances, and the star image. This was reflected a lot in media for teenagers at the time.
Wow.
Matching outfits?
This, my friend, is hot.
This, my friend, is not.
Can't hide behind these gimmicks anymore. What good is it to get famous if nobody knows who I really am?
Okay. Now, when you say boy groups or girl group, they wear matching outfit, but they don't have to be like all those bubbles on you. This is over the top, but whatever. I think she's trying to make a point in this whatever show it is, but seriously, okay.
This is show business. Wow, impressive.
I know, right? It's kind of my thing. It's a tough business.
Narcissistic, overproduced ego factory.
Welcome to the ego factory.
Wow. Good luck trying to find a spotlight big enough for the both of you.
This feeling's like no other.
You want to hear how the duet's supposed to sound?
Knows me like you do.
I'm talking massive dance number. 100 dancers, fireworks, the lot. Dance is just so hot right now.
We'd never do that.
Absolutely not.
We'd never wear that.
Ta-da!
Now this was of course in the Western music market, because in K-pop, appearing as normal was not a priority at all.
Because they're supposed to be idols. They can be normal off stage, but on stage, they should be idols. That's the whole concept, right? They should have qualities not that normal people don't have. Even for BTS, right? They're even though they're idols. I'm looking at Jin right here. I have Jin right here on the wall. I'm staring at him. But anyway, I love him. But anyway, what am I saying? Old age, I can't even keep up with my own thoughts. So on stage, they're supposed to look certain way because that's what they are. They are stars. They are on stage. They're performer. They're artists. Off stage, they are normal people. I totally agree. But if I'm going to a concert and watching TV, I see someone performing that look just like me, sing like me, move like me, then what is the point? I'm watching the TV or watching artist performer to do something that I cannot do. I can't sing, so they better sing better than I can. I cannot move my ass to save myself. They better dance their asses off. So whatever. this is gonna be this turning out to be a long video for me.
Western music market, because in K-pop, appearing as normal was not a priority at all. The matching outfits, the flashy music videos, and the synchronized choreographies were the priority. Just thinking about the fact that certain K-pop groups and Western groups were active during the same time is crazy to me, because they were part of very different waves of groups. K-pop groups try to present themselves as superstars. That's why they are not even called K-pop singers, they are called K-pop idols. While Western groups try to present themselves as the complete opposite. Just normal people, just the girl or the boy next door. Now, this sounds great. Singers are not superheroes, they are just people. However, I do believe this strategy created an acceptance for artistic mediocrity and disorder in musical groups. I believe this started to become really obvious to me when One Direction started to replace professional photo shoots for their album covers.
So this are One Direction. I think them to me maybe is similar to how BTS to a lot of Westerners, that they all look the same. Because I'm Asian, when I look at a foreigner, in my mind, anyone who's not Asian, they are foreigners, right? I might not be able to tell them apart quickly. Even for BTS, actually for me, it took me a good couple of days to tell them apart, to really know who they are. But it might take me a lot longer. I take it back. I think it's really how much you want to know them. For BTS, I really want to know them, so it took me a lot sooner. But for the other group, like, I hate to say this, TXT, they are great, but I still do not know all their names. I know there are a lot of good boys. Oh, now what I say boy group. A lot of K-pop group, male groups out there. I might be able to name a couple, like, G-Dragon. Everybody knows who he is, right? Taeyong, everybody knows who he is. I think Jackson Wang. I think that's pretty much all I know. But anyway, let's continue. I just want to say that I don't know who they are. No, I know they're One Direction, but if you just put a picture of one person in front of me, I would not know who that person is and is part of One Direction. I'm so bad.
To me, when One Direction started to replace professional photo shoots for their album covers with random and, I'm sorry, ugly pictures. How did they manage to make 5 conventionally attractive men look bad in a heavily promoted album cover? I have no idea, but they did it. These were their official images, used not only on album covers, but they were also sent everywhere for promotions. This was how they chose to present themselves. Their performance stages also became less and less dynamic and professional looking as they were going harder with this idea of we just want to be ourselves. Like they said in their movie, this is us. We physically cannot make ourselves match or look cohesive as a group. Now, I believe the final big and ultimate example of a group victim of this individuality over the look of the group mentality is Fifth Harmony. On red carpets, album covers, concerts, and performances, each member was doing their own thing. Which is funny because it seemed like they were at least trying to put on a cohesive show. Unfortunately, they were not doing their own thing while still making sense, like the Spice Girls, who each had their own character. Let's remember that during the 90s and early 2000s, girl groups and boy groups followed individual tropes and archetypes but were still cohesive. The matching outfits and the choreographed dances helped create this image, but like I said, over the years this started to look too manufactured, and the complete opposite became the trend. And it really was the trend. Once One Direction broke up in December of 2015, so many boy bands started to get heavily promoted. And there was a very obvious new look. Vibing more than synchronized dancing, regular mismatching outfits, and sometimes even one sole guitar player. It was very specific. That was until a certain Korean group made their American debut at the 2017 American Music Awards. That was BTS. And BTS did not only successfully break into both the Western and K-pop industries, but they also changed what it means to be a group today. BTS managed to become the biggest group in both the Western industry and the K-pop industry. Although managed to become the biggest.
I'm sorry, I'm just so mesmerized by Jin and his voices. So anyway, let's get it.
BTS managed to become the biggest group in both the Western industry and the K-pop industry, although they were the complete opposite of each other. Because they were the opposite of each other, there wasn't really any real crossover between these industries before them. A group was either the most popular in one industry or the other, not in both. So the question is, how did BTS do this? A lot of it simply has to do with the inevitable circumstances of BTS's debut. BTS had their debut simply has to do with
Look at my babies.
the inevitable circumstances of BTS.
It's a little Yoongi. I think I've seen this clip before, but oh my goodness, my babies.
BTS's debut. BTS had their debut in the K-pop industry in 2013, and just like the entirety of K-pop at the time, they were not even thinking of trying to seriously promote in the West. Previous attempts of K-pop in the Western music industry failed, starting in 2008 when Rain appeared at the Stephen Colbert Show and Big Bang released an English language album. Then in 2009, Wonder Girls released a song in English, performed it at the Wendy Williams Show, had a bunch of interviews in America, and they opened for the Jonas Brothers in their North American tour. In 2011, Girls' Generation released an album with an American label and a European label. They released a song in English and promoted it on an American morning show and the David Letterman Show. And obviously in 2012,
Psy is my first official K-pop, not idol, but K-pop singer. Psy, Gangnam Style was the first one that introduced me to Korean music. Well, actually, take that back. When I was young, there's Aliran that I grew up with. Everybody in my age know how to sing Aliran. We don't know what exactly that means, but they translate into Chinese. And then after that is Gangnam Style.
Released Gangnam Style, which coincidentally became viral in the West as well. This created a lot of firsts in the K-pop industry. The first to perform in an American TV show, the first to release an English language album, the first. But these artists, including Psy, did not go further in this particular industry. They were not really able to integrate themselves in the Western music industry and create a Western following. So all of these massive K-pop artists went back to prioritizing and ruling the K-pop industry. No more American labels involved. No more American interviews and TV performances, and the rest of K-pop stopped trying as well. Like I said, this is in part because this image was outdated in the West. Around 2010, K-pop groups looked like Western groups from the 90s, especially when you put them next to One Direction or Fifth Harmony, the Western groups that were their contemporaries. So when Western groups and their normal image were at their peak, BTS debuted. As a K-pop group, they were expected to perform on K-pop music shows, promote in variety shows, and present themselves as superstars. But their label didn't have the money or power to get them these opportunities, forcing them to promote mostly online. Now, this sounds crazy, but it's true. BTS
When the stars are aligned, no matter what you do, you will be successful. Well, actually, for this kind of thing, right, you need to have luck really apply. You can have all the talent that you have if you have all the money in the world, but if the luck is not there, when the stars is not totally aligned, you will still be successful maybe in Korea. You know, you have the money, you have the power. You will not be successful. You will not be successful globally. And for BTS, with the condition, with the condition that they were in, they were never going to be successful in Korea, unfortunately. But because they were forced to promote themselves online, like I'm doing right now. But anyway, it's a different story. They were able to reach different audience, and they are showing how normal they are online, but not on stage. So it's more, to me, it's more authentic, right? We are watching these boys grow up in front of our faces, and those unofficial release of video of their daily diaries, they are a lot more authentic to present that way to us than just to dress daily outfit on stage. To me, that's actually a more forced normal to me.
BTS were the only ones in the K-pop industry to promote mainly on social media. Before BTS, K-pop groups did not care about behind-the-scenes blogs, video diaries, or social media interaction. They were idols, and appearing as normal kids on the internet did not help create that image. But BTS had to promote online.
Yes.
When they started doing this, Western groups were at their peak. So BTS were slowly and silently growing online. But once One Direction broke up and Camila Cabello left Fifth Harmony, the downfall of relatable Western groups broke up and Camila Cabello.
It tells you how much I know about the Western music industry. I heard about One Direction. I think I heard about Fifth Harmony, but I don't know who they are.
Fifth Harmony, the downfall of relatable Western groups started. And among the many relatable groups trying to become the next big thing, BTS stood out. Because yes, they were normal guys sharing their songs on SoundCloud and directly talking to fans on social media, but they were not mediocre performers. BTS stood out as more professional, more organized. They were the only group in the Western music industry actually putting on a show. And after years of celebrating mediocrity, BTS were a breath of fresh air. The circumstances in which BTS rose to global fame were not all luck. Yes, the absence of a main group in 2016 and 2017 helped BTS be seen, but this visibility was applied to so many groups as well. And Western labels were the ones pushing all these groups at the same time. Meanwhile, the K-pop industry was, as always, ruled by the non-relatable idol groups, mainly part of the big three. What made BTS stand out, in my opinion, was the perfect balance. The idea of the manufacturer group was outdated in 2010, in 2016, and it still is today. But if you came across BTS in 2016 or 2017, you saw both their normal, relatable, and more personal content and their undeniable talent in show-stopping performances. BTS did a little more than what everyone else was doing. That made them unstoppable. And that is why I have a problem with this motto by Western producers of groups of just be yourself. The wave of Western groups in the 2010s was iconic, but it was an artistic mess. Meanwhile, K-pop during the 2010s was an artistic exploration that was hard to appreciate and get attached to without the beautiful, over-the-top visuals. BTS normalized attempting to balance both. Not just be yourself, not just be a star. Be complicated and multifaceted. BTS changed the group scene completely. Synchronized choreographies and matching outfits are back, and actually to a higher standard than they were during the 90s. But K-pop groups have to balance this with relatability. So only after BTS became the biggest group in the world, every K-pop group opened Twitter accounts, started doing blogs on YouTube, etc. But just like BTS, they may need the absence of the biggest. So after 6 years of being the undeniable biggest group, BTS had to go in an inevitable rest from group activities because they had to go to the military. That left other groups, K-pop or Western.
They were ready to jump into this so-called vacuum of absence of BTS, but I don't think they were successful. I don't think so. I think some group might be able to get more fans and win some awards, but BTS is coming back. I'm sorry to tell you, my boys, or no, I don't care. I'm gonna call them my boys because to them they are boys. You know, it is what it is. My boys are coming back. My J-Hope is coming to Oakland. We are going to try to get a suite so I don't have to fight over the Hunger Game or the Squid Game of ticket buying. But we'll see how that goes. I might do something when the time comes, but we'll see.
About 3 years to climb to the top. Unfortunately for them, that time is basically over. And during these years, the overall popularity of groups has actually declined.
Wow, really?
Although the industry is clearly desperate to find the next big group, and they are giving them a variety of platforms previous generations of groups never had, none of them could come close to BTS's numbers and impact while on hiatus. Like we saw in 2016 and 2017, the absence of the biggest is an opportunity to be seen. But without innovation or something different, anything different, What audiences see is a bunch of the same, and the next big group cannot organically be chosen in a space like this. Again, I blame the producers. The era of the Just Be Yourself groups was short-lived and had messy endings. So those groups and their producers are not relevant anymore. But the K-pop producers with their star image have this obsession with manufacturing everything. It's the label's projects and their decisions and their visions. Even when trying to create K-pop or non-K-pop groups that balance both being relatable and professional like BTS, they still fail to truly let the artists do something artistic on their own. They are too selfish or too scared to attempt a real balance. The wave of groups from the 2020s lacks real, raw human emotion and personality. They learned nothing from BTS because it was their lack of control from the industry what made them creative. So the early 2020s was an interesting era for girl groups and boy groups, but I'm honestly way more excited for the ways in which BTS is planning to change the industry again very soon.
You're coming back! Okay, so that was Be Yourself Will Be a Star. I think what I have said at the beginning, if you be yourself, you will be a star, I guess that's not true. That's not how she has envisioned in her video. But I do agree that BTS is different because they combine both the normalcy, is that such a word? Off stage and the professionalism on stage seamlessly. They just combine those so well that you cannot help but just fall in love with them. At least that's speaking for myself. I love BTS. Every time I look up, I see Jin. It's like, hi Jin. Anyway. So that was that, and I really do appreciate Boracity Magazine put out all these wonderful videos for us to watch, to react to, and to be angry together, to smile together. So until the next time, it's time for me to take a rest. So until next time, you have a wonderful day. Goodbye.